Sunday night, I get a call from the nursing home letting me know that my mom was found on the floor, and they was kind of confused at how she got there. And so I was confused too because the woman that called me had an accent, and I was just trying to make out what it was. And it had already threw me because, it was probably like 8ish or something. And I see the name of the nursing home come on my call ID. So, immediately that's alarming. So I get up because we were watching a series on Netflix. So I get up and exit the room, come into my office and take the call. So I'm just trying to understand what is what and what's going on. And I know my mom, and you got to know her too. Sometimes she do weird things, but this was a bit more weirder for her. And I thought, just to make sense of it, I was like, well, maybe she just, for whatever reason, decided, because she can do stuff like, I don't like the bed. My back hurt on the bed. I'm going to lay on the floor, Not like her in that regard to do that particular act, but she has done stuff before. So it kind of, bothered me a little bit, but they didn't sound alarmed. They just said, hey, we're going to lower the bed and get her back in and this and that. And I had already made up in my mind that I would go visit her the next morning. Well, things changed. About an hour later, I get another call saying that she's not responding to commands, and they're trying to give her water. She's not able to sip the water. They're putting it near her mouth. She's, they ask her to lift her hands and do different things, which is not her normal. She's able to talk and, all the things, right? And so they said, we're going to call 911. And of course, at that point, I'm like, wow, something is going on. And, we're going back and forth. And they suspect that either she had a stroke or a seizure. And I didn't necessarily think it was a seizure because she's never had one of those before. But, she's older and, things happen. Life happens. Life changes. But the nurse that was just coming on for the night shift says, based on just how she looks and, what I know about strokes, I think she's had a stroke. And they admitted her to the emergency room at the local hospital. And so that just, what do you do? What do you say? What do you feel? So many feelings, so many emotions. You feel helpless and powerless. The next morning, I got up early in the morning and I met my sister at the hospital, and I walk in and I could tell something had happened. Her potassium was extremely high, which that happened 7 years ago when she was almost gone that time as well. And it's due to kidneys issues, just a lot of issues and a lot of things happening at the same time. So I walk in and I just I knew I could see it in her eyes, like something's wrong, something's off. Luckily, they were able to get her the potassium levels down, which to my understanding, it can cause you to become incoherent and things of that nature. So while I was there, I did see the potassium level come down. She get back to a place of being able to, communicate. She was moving. She was very agitated. So you can just imagine how these last few days have been for me. This morning I got another call about, them needing to do dialysis, and her body went into shock, went into cardiac arrest, and they had to do CPR. And now she's on a ventilator. So I saw her today. How do I feel? I feel numb. Parts feel hopeful because she is a fighter. My mom has lived a life. You hear me? She done did everything that she wanted to do plus some. And I think a lot of that is catching up with her now. But I know she's a fighter. So there's a part of me that is hopeful. There's also a part of me that wants to be realistic. And there's a part of me that's just numb to it all. I don't know. You know, you get to a place in life where your parents are getting older. People that were adults when you were kids are getting older. And that's like a pivotal moment in life because you're seeing the aging process happen. Now, if you just now found me on the internet, my mom didn't raise me or anything, but there's a lot of grace that I have for her because she couldn't do what she couldn't do. She dealt and has continued to deal with substance abuse, mental illnesses. So, as I shared with my sister, like, we're not even upset with her. You know, it's not a grudge or anything because we both were by her bedside today. So there's grace, there's love, there's compassion. You know, even for a situation such as ours where our mom was there, but she wasn't able to raise us. We, you know, had to rely on others to help us. Thank God they were there. But now our mom is relying solely on us. And that's one thing I am proud of. My sister drove 2 hours to be with her on the first day and the second day. 7 years ago when this happened, I drove 2 hours to be with her, to be in the hospital. And we've been there for every evolution, every part of her journey, as challenging as it has been. Because until you deal with a situation like that, you just don't understand. Like, my mom was in jail for 3 years, and when she got out, of course, she doesn't have a place to stay. She gets into a program in the city that she was incarcerated in, and she get kicked out of that program. And the person is calling me saying, "Hey, she gotta go," and trying to find shelters and different things. And finally, it getting to the point where she comes to live with me for 6 months, which is another huge undertaking. So I've been there. We've been there. And even if something was to happen, there is a part that, you know, I'm like, I did my best. But I think the human part is like, well, you maybe could have did more. Or maybe you didn't notice this, or you should have did that. And so I mourn for that part of me that will feel that if something does happen. I also think it's human. But I do, you know, it's kind of like I'm bracing for shock. That's what we were taught in the Navy, brace for shock. It's bracing for the phone call that is not just an update about a procedure or what she's doing, but a phone call saying, "Sorry to inform you." You know, just a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings, a lot of things. I want to focus now on thinking about the good times. And I know she's not gone, but just allowing the memories to play as I live through this. I don't know what the next week, next 2 weeks hold. I'm hopeful, optimistic, all of those things. But I don't know. And it's still fairly new in the stages. So, like, we're getting information from the doctors, but also it's just like, it's not a lot of information. It's not like I guess what we want to know, and the questions they're really not able to answer all of those. And it's just where we are. I just hope, I haven't really been able to get much sleep given the circumstances. So I'm waking up every few moments, checking my phone, making sure I didn't miss a call from the doctor from the overnight shift. So it's just a lot, and it should be a lot. It's heavy. It's not light. It's not a day in the park, but such is life, and that's what I'm going through right now. And I think I'm just recording these not videos, but I guess we call them audio podcasts. I don't know. I don't really care what I call them. It doesn't take away or add to anything. It's just kind of like my vocal public journal, if you will. I think years later, I'll be able to go back and listen to these moments and remember where I was emotionally, mentally, even what was going on in my life. And it just happens to be public. So, as I said, like in a previous audio broadcast, because I don't know what these are, like, this is just a space that I get to share. And I don't want to dictate it by what's trending, what's going on, and I got to have this and do that. I don't know. Just sharing. Maybe you've been through something like this. Maybe you haven't. Maybe you can relate. Maybe you just are interested to hear someone going through an experience right now, and maybe you can find yourself in it. If you care to share, you can drop those thoughts in the comments. You can connect however you would like to. And I definitely will be back with another entry here with an update of what's going on. All right.